MidLIFE Matters, where we celebrate women's wisdom and wit. I'm Georgian Lussier, your host, and I'm delighted to introduce today's guest, Cella, a Wallingford resident who is fulfilling a quest to run in all 169 Connecticut towns. Welcome, Ann.
Hello.
So happy you're here.
Thank you.
You started running about 4 years ago, and then it turned into something really big.
I didn't even realize it could happen.
Mm-hmm.
I started running, and then one year I said, let me join the Fishbine Run.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that. And the next year I thought, well, let me do it again. I hadn't really run a lot between the two, but I said, let me do it again. So I signed up, and they offered a couched 5K program. So I signed up for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I met some running friends through that program. We continued to run afterwards. And one of them had said, geez, I heard about this club, and explained it was the 169 Society, and they run one run in every town, all 169. Let's sign up. So we did.
Nice.
Yes. I'm going to be the first to finish out of that group. You know, everybody's life takes a turn, and
Mm-hmm.
people can only do so much, or you know, fulfill it within a certain period of time.
And how is this structured?
There are a few rules. There's
Mm-hmm.
not too many. They have to be organized runs through either the town or an organization. Most of them are for charity. I would say probably 100% are for charity. It has to be timed, and the times have to be posted either on the timing company's website, or if it's a smaller race, they can put it on Facebook, but it has to be posted to make everybody accountable.
Okay.
So you can't take a friend, go to a town and say, let's run 3 miles and time you and say, okay, check it off, we did it. Which is okay, you know, you want it to mean something.
Right.
Basically, other than that, you just show up, you run, and mind your manners, you know, and that's basically it. There's a whole website where you can log your runs, so there's somebody looking after that to make sure it's done correctly.
Are they all 5Ks?
They're everything from 1 mile to marathons you can do. You can do obstacle courses. You can do cross-country runs. You can do trail runs. So anything where it includes running. There's, like the Hartford Marathon was this past weekend, and they actually had relays, so you can be on a relay team and do it.
So the goal is to run in all 169 towns in the sanctioned run events.
Yes.
Is there a certain number of miles or no? Just it's measured by events?
It's just events.
Okay.
Whatever, you know, some people only like to do 5Ks. Some people like the longer ones. You come to realize that you will do just about anything that comes up if you want to finish.
Right.
Cross country is not my favorite, but I've done plenty of them to get the towns in because they're not all convenient. You know, you can't just pick one any weekend. It's whatever's available.
Right. About how long has that club been in existence?
Oh, it started, I believe, around 2007. I don't know the exact date, and it just started with very few people, just a couple of friends that kind of got together.
Kind of an
idea. And then it's grown to over 2,000 members at this point.
And do you know how many people have actually finished?
Oh, I want to say under 50.
Okay.
Or maybe just above 50. I haven't checked the...
So you're going to be part of an elite group.
I'm going to be part of, I want to say top 100 to finish at this point.
And when do you think that might be?
It's going to be the middle of November.
Wonderful.
I have them all. I'm signed up for the rest of them. I have 4 more to go. And it's the middle of November.
What do you experience as being the benefits of running, aside from achieving this goal with the 169 towns?
I like getting out there and just not thinking about anything. A lot of people use it to think about things, but I enjoy running. I enjoy running outside instead of just on a treadmill. I like just looking around at the environment. And when you go to all these different towns, you see so many things and have so many experiences with the people that you're with, and it's great.
And how much training do you do typically in a week? How many miles do you run?
I try to run 3 to 4 times a week, And I can run anywhere, minimum of 3 up to 5 miles each time. Now the runs I've done, sometimes we've run 10 miles, sometimes there's been 8 miles, sometimes, you know, there's longer distances. My friends and I have trained for a half marathon, so every week we were out there doing longer distances. But that's not typical for me. Some people will do those long distances on a regular basis.
And so what do you do about inclement weather and...
You run.
Okay.
You know, you have the gear for it, hopefully. This is the perfect time of year to run, with the weather being cooler. We've run in the pouring down rain. We've run in weather so hot that you've had to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to train. So you just do it. And it makes you a better runner for, you know, just telling yourself, just get out there and do it.
What was the initial impetus to start running? Did you try other exercise?
I was a big walker. I used to walk all the time outside, and I would go, you know, 4 or 5 miles on a walk. And then it got to the point where it was like, you know, maybe I could run a little bit. I don't know if I got bored with walking, because I still love being outside, or maybe I thought it was just going to be quicker to get it done. But I was glad I did. I was glad I pushed myself.
Do you picture yourself running actively once you achieve your 169 towns?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
So
you're hooked.
Well, I just like it. It's good exercise. It makes you feel good. It helps your breathing. It helps everything. And I don't see me stopping. There's no reason to.
I know some runners over time, you know, like you run outside, so you run on pavement probably many times, right? Sidewalks or...
Yes, I run actually all different places and terrains. I'll run up on some of the school tracks. Sometimes if you're feeling sore because the tracks are softer. The hardest ones are the sidewalks. And so the road with the asphalt is a little bit softer than a sidewalk. Depending on where you are, running on a road is probably not the smartest thing. If there's a sidewalk, I'll use that.
As a driver, I get very nervous when I see people running.
Yes, and as a runner, when I see cars coming, I'll get as close to the side of the road as I can. And if there's a sidewalk, I'll get up on the sidewalk and let them go, because I know they're nervous. Even I get nervous as I'm driving. You just have to be conscious.
Yeah, very conscious. And I know some people do have joint-related issues because it is an impact sport.
It's very hard on the joints. So, you know, a lot of time you'll go home and you'll ice, or, you know, you'll soak, or, you know, apply something if you need it. You have to take care of your body, obviously.
And stretching, is that part of your routine?
Stretching before you run. Yep, and even after you run, that's very important too. Just it's good for you no matter what.
What advice would you have for someone who is thinking of maybe starting, but thinking, I might be too old, or...
Well, that's the nice thing about this sport, is everybody has their own ability. There's nothing to say. You don't have to be a fast runner. You can just go at your own speed. You can run, walk. A lot of people run, walk. And that's fine. There's nothing to say that you got to run the whole 10 miles. Or the whole 3 miles, you know, whatever you can do. Anything is better than not doing anything.
Good point.
It's just to keep moving.
What kind of a job do you have? Because I imagine fitting running in could be...
I work for an engineering department. So I do like to do night running too. So I'll put on a headlamp when it's dark out, and that's when I'll use the sidewalks. And I'll go out at night and run. A lot of the runs that we've had were also at night during the week, which enabled me to get those towns done rather than consuming all the weekends or taking an extra 6 months to finish it. But you just fit it in where you can. You know, some people are early morning risers and they get up and do it, or you can come home and do it whenever you want. That's the nice thing.
I think that is the nice thing about running. It's not a scheduled activity. It's not a group activity necessarily.
Right.
So
you don't need a gym to go to.
Work it around. You just put on the sneakers and whatever.
Absolutely.
Safety.
Sometimes I'll go right after work. I'll just get dressed and use the linear trail sometimes. You know, so there's a lot of variety that you can run.
And do you see any impact of feeling healthier and so forth on your job? I imagine you sit quite a bit, right?
I do. We have standing desks
Okay.
there, but yes, all in all, it is, and there's quite a few stairs that we have to go up every day. And, I do notice that that's easier because, you know,
Right.
you're breathing better. Your breath is better.
Okay.
But
And what about your mental acuity? Do you think it has any impact on that?
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think anything you do
Mm-hmm.
that gets you outside, or if you exercise inside, just anything keeps your mind clear.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Do you ever have any aha moments after you've been running of solving a problem or having something just pop up in your head?
Not usually. I maybe not while I'm running, but maybe later on.
Yeah.
Like I said, I really do enjoy the moment when I'm out there. I don't care if it's, you know, I've had chickens cross the road. You know, you see all kinds of things, and I enjoy that kind of thing. You know, just.
Well, you're a farm girl, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and we're going to talk about that. Before we get to the farm, you've belonged to a movie group for 17 years, and I had never really met anyone who's been in a movie group. I've been in a book group for 20 years.
It's the same premise.
Okay.
The reason we started that was because we had talked about a book club, but we realized that we didn't have the time to read a book every month or whatever. So I had watched a movie, and I loaned it to one of my friends, and then we were discussing it, and we were like, well, why can't we have a movie club?
So you, like, invented it.
We kind of invented it.
Yeah.
And it's called DAM, D-A-M, Dinner in a Movie.
Okay.
There's 4 of us. We hold it once a month. We have held it once a month for 16 years.
Wow.
We've started our 17th year last month. Everybody brings a portion of the dinners. If the dinner's at your house, you do the main entree. Somebody will bring dessert. The other person would bring a vegetable, and then wine or whatever's left. Has to be wine. And we look at the movie ahead of time. We don't watch it that evening, so that after dinner is when we discuss the movie.
Okay.
And a lot of people have wanted to join our club, and we won't let them. There's 4 of us. We know each other. We're dedicated to it. I don't know how many people would be dedicated to do it every month for 16 years.
Yeah.
It's that in itself says something about the friendship and the bond that we have.
Well, you can always encourage people to start their
Oh,
own
we
movie
have.
club.
And I think they intend to,
Yeah.
but it just doesn't happen. We haven't heard of anybody that has done it that we've spoken to.
Have you heard of other movie clubs since you've done
No.
this? Really?
No,
Wow. This
Yeah.
may be like a singular
it might be.
thing.
But
You also enjoy the PBS Great American Read.
yes.
Okay, so tell us about that.
Well, I love to read. I don't get to read as much as I'd like to. If people aren't aware of it, PBS sent out a survey.
Oh, okay.
Is what they did to certain demographics, certain areas of the country, certain people, to get a broad spectrum of what people are reading. And then they compiled the top 100 books. And they're running a series on it, and they're talking about the 100 books that they compiled from this survey, because everybody gets to vote on those 100 what the top book is, depending on everybody's votes. And they do it in groups. They were talking about books about heroes, and then books about all kinds of things. They just grouped them into different
Do
things.
they include memoirs?
Yes. They also do a series like the Harry Potter series or the Game of Thrones series. Very interesting to listen to the people talk about the different books that they have on there, because there's some books I haven't read, obviously, and I didn't want to read them, but you hear people talking about them and how passionate they are about them, and you're like, geez, maybe I do want to read that book. So I've got the whole list, and I don't know how many I'm going to get to read, but there's certainly more on there that I
And
would
who are
go
the
to.
types of people that are speaking?
They have authors themselves. They have
So
entertainers.
people that are kind of either known
Yes.
or they're writers?
Yes, or teachers.
Okay.
You know, so diverse.
And is it all
some
for adults?
No, they've got like Little Women, and they've got Charlotte's Web that was voted on one of the top 100.
Okay.
So it's for everybody. It really is. You know, Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It's an interesting
That's interesting. I
series.
wonder if some of the teachers use that as a way to develop some of their curriculum or whatever. That would be an interesting application of it.
Yeah, I would imagine they probably are.
Again, depending on the
Right.
subject matter, grade level.
Yep. And if you've been to any of the libraries recently, they're all, you know, advertising it too and having certain things going on at the library.
That like support the themes or?
Just support the Great American Read.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are all the authors American? Probably.
No.
No.
No,
I
they're
was
not.
going to say, yeah, I'm trying to think of some of the books you've mentioned. It wouldn't. Harry Potter obviously was written by an unlikely author who was kind of at rock bottom and struck gold.
Yeah.
How did you discover it?
Advertising.
Okay.
On PBS. PBS is airing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a big PBS supporter.
Okay. Let's talk about your farming family in Wallingford.
Yes.
I'm also a Wallingford, I'd say generally lifelong person, lived away for a few years, but I remember Wallingford being made up of farms and factories.
Yes.
Largely.
Yes.
You know, most people I knew, their families were involved in one or the other in some way.
Or mercantile, basically.
Right.
Yeah, my grandfather was a dairy farmer, and my dad and my uncle, brothers, they were dairy farmers, you know, and they took over. My grandfather retired.
Okay.
They recently, I want to say within the past 6, 7, 8 years, have retired themselves, but that's all they knew, and they loved it. Yeah. They loved it. It's dairy farming. And we grew up there on that and helped them where we could when they needed it. And it was a great life.
So what chores did you have as a child?
We didn't have chores every day.
Okay.
But again, when they needed us, you know, they're during the seasons where the hay came in, and this is going back a little ways, but, you know, they didn't always have the modern equipment that a lot of the farmers have now. It was much more manual. And we would go out in the fields and, let's say haying, for instance, we would roll the bales together so that when the truck stopped, they didn't have to go from here, there, and everywhere to pick them all up.
Okay.
They were all in one spot.
So those big rolls we see, you'd be pushing them?
No, with square ones.
Oh, square ones.
Yeah.
So flip, 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 right?
And sometimes I think that was just to keep us busy so that they knew where we were and, you know, gave us something to do. But, you know, they're good memories.
Yeah.
They're good memories.
So did you have pets that were on the farm, or was it largely cows?
Well, there was always cats. The cows were the mainstay of the farming. Other than that, later, when my sister and I were not quite teenagers, we each got a horse.
Okay.
So that was we took care of the horse. There was no doubt that if we didn't take care of it, we didn't have a horse. But we didn't care because we wanted one so badly for so long that we got that. So, you know, that taught us a lot too. You know, every morning before school we were out there feeding that horse, and after school brushing the horse and riding it and just taking care of it.
About how many acres did your family have?
It was about 120.
Okay. So about what years was it that your grandfather would have started this?
You know, I don't know that for sure. Because that's all I ever remember, so I'm not sure of the dates.
Did your grandfather come from another country?
His parents came from Italy.
Okay.
It's been a little bit hard to find some of that. I believe he was born here.
Okay.
And they moved here when he was very young from, I think, New York.
Okay. Yeah, they probably weren't so concerned about documenting things, right?
That, and they didn't talk about it like we talk about those things today. You know?
Yeah.
I think today people are more forthcoming with your lineage and all that kind of stuff. But.
So you must have known other kids that grew up on farms.
Oh, absolutely.
So when you were in high school, did you go to high school locally?
Yes.
Okay, so
Lemon Hall.
Did you tend to?
The VOAG
Were you in VOAG?
program, yes, we were.
Okay.
Of course, there was kids in that program from Wallingford as well as other towns. You know, you got to mingle with people that had same interests.
And I think Lyman Hall has quite an extended
they do.
program at this point.
Over the past few years, they really added on, and from what I understand and what I know, it includes the food service now is under that umbrella.
Yeah.
Small pet care, I believe, more into the forestry. It's
and
a
I think
broad
they have a
spectrum.
very large growing area, right? Kind of state of the art in terms of...
Yes, I've been there when they have an open house. I usually get there late in the day and I don't get to see everything.
Right.
It's state of the art and good for them.
Yeah, and I think that's a great program.
It is.
Because so many of those skills, you know, are foreign to people. I mean, there's a lot of farm-to-table talk, but you
Sure.
grew up when farm-to-table was like real,
Yes,
right? Did you have
yes.
chickens and so forth?
No, they didn't have any.
Okay.
We didn't have any chickens, but you know, we knew where our food came from growing up on the farm.
Did you learn to drive a tractor?
No, not really. I don't know. I don't know if my dad. I think partially he didn't want us to drive the tractor.
Okay. That was an important piece of equipment.
It was important, right? I think
Right.
he was kind of afraid.
Yeah. Actually, that's how I learned to drive. My dad would have loved to have been a farmer. He was in the trades. But he bought land in East Wallingford that was off of a road that wasn't paved, and it was pretty rural,
Right.
you know, with your own well and
Sure.
get stuck up there at the top of the hill
Yeah.
for days when it snowed and so forth. So he
Right.
had this tractor that he would use for plowing and for different things, and
Sure.
that's what I learned to drive on, actually.
In the VOAG program, they let us drive their little tractor.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, that was all sanctioned. That was all like
Yes.
part of the lesson plan, right?
Yes, it was.
That was an integral part of the family business that would cause a big problem.
Exactly.
And tell me about your activities with the Grange. So that's related to your farming experience,
Yes,
right?
yes. I didn't join the Grange until 2000 and, I think it was 2014.
Okay.
I was looking for something to give back to the community.
Mm-hmm.
And again, being a farmer, that just kind of made sense to gravitate towards that.
Right.
Although there's not a lot of farmers in the Grange anymore, they're very community-based,
Yeah.
which gives back to the town, which is very nice.
So what types of things have you done with the Grange? I think we have a photo of a pie.
That's part of the state contest for the agricultural fairs.
Okay.
The Granges, when they have their fairs, they participate in that contest. So that's where I usually enter because I'm usually too busy to get to the bigger fairs.
Yeah.
They have a different recipe every year, and I like making it and trying to.
Oh, so they give you the recipe and then you make the
Yes,
pie?
right. The apple pie is standard, and then every year they have a different recipe for the baking portion of it.
Okay.
And usually it's a bread, and then I forget what the next year is. But every other year is a bread, and then it's something else in between there.
What kind of community activities do you do with the Grange?
Well, they put their fairs on,
Okay.
dinners that they put on for different groups.
Okay.
During the year, they're always participating in things like they used to give dictionaries to kids in school.
Oh.
They participate in collecting for the animal shelters, you know, different civic groups that they try to give back to. And they have a Citizen of the Year award every year.
Nice. And that has a long, long history with it, right? The Grange?
Oh,
that
the
must go
Grange.
back to like the 1800s or
Yes,
something.
it does.
Yeah.
A lot of these Granges around the area have been open 125 years or more.
Okay. Let's get to the portion of advice you would give your younger self.
Oh, the advice I would give myself.
Earlier adulthood and middle adulthood, I would
It'd
say.
probably be, I was thinking about that. It would probably be the same advice. Just don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to try something new. And just because you think maybe you can't do it doesn't mean you can't try to do it.
Okay.
You know, just do what you want to do. Give it a whirl.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know what's going to come of it.
You could end up running in 169
You
pounds.
could end up and here talking
and
to you
here
about
talking on TV about it.
Yes.
And what things are you contemplating maybe doing next once you've reached this big goal?
Well, I'm going to continue to run on my own mostly. There's some runs that I wanted to do that for whatever reason couldn't. So I've got a small list of those that when they come up again, I want to do those, like the Salmon River Run. You know, just there's ones that I want to do again. I've really come to like trail running. I love trail running, and there was a trail run we did in March, a friend of mine, and that was just like the best time. That was a 10K, and it was just the greatest thing. I want to volunteer at some of the runs. You know, I've ran in so many, and the volunteers have been so helpful that I kind of want to give back that way.
That's great.
So, and I don't know, other than that, I don't know. I kind of, you know, step back from certain things to see what else I want to get involved in.
It's kind of a let's see.
Yeah.
Right? Create space for it and see what happens.
Absolutely.
And you have a favorite quote?
I do. Work hard, stay positive, and get up early. The morning is the best time of day.
I love that. Do you know who said it? Or
I don't.
Okay.
I don't, but...
A wise person.
A wise person.
Someone that you agree with.
Yes.
So you're an early bird.
I am. I find the morning hours, the day hasn't started. Not all the animals are up. You hear things, you see things that you don't see when everything gets going.
Wonderful.
And it's very peaceful.
Contemplative.
Yeah.
Ann, this has been terrific.
Well, thank you.
I wish you all the luck with finishing your quest.
Thank you.
And look forward to what else you're going to be up to.
Appreciate it.
And thank you for watching. Please tune in to hear other fascinating stories of future guests. Georgian Lussier, your host. My pleasure. Thank you.